Zuleika expresses her spin on Gail Gray's I refuse to be intimidated. She notes, quote, sometimes fear knocks on your door. You allow it to come in, sit down for a chat, and quickly learn it's not wrong. But it takes still another guest to kick it out. Luckily, you have been visited by both. Performing her very first spoken word piece, please give a warm welcome to Zuleika.
That's right. Welcome to my first one. When I first signed up, I thought, yeah, this will be fun. Just me and this mic and this huge stage. I kept thinking, am I even ready in this stage of life? And I decided at this age, it won't faze me. What will I say, whether I like it or not? My thoughts get interrupted by a knock on the door. I got off the floor and opened it. The face I saw looked so familiar, but I didn't know his name. The overwhelming feeling of the unknown came, and I started staring at it in the face. He moved with such grace, and even though I couldn't place the face in my memories, I said, come in. Eyes so beautiful, but a devious grin that made my skin cold. We sat on the couch, and he said, tell me anything, I'll vouch for you. I sat, slouched and confused. All I could ask was, who are you? He said, you've met me before, but I visit you today because you need me more. I saw your sore hands from writing and the constant biting of your pencil, trying to find the right words to say and putting it off to the next day. Hypnotized, I replied, well, where have you been? He smiled again with that devious grin that made the living room spin with the memories of my sins. He said, stages like this are for people who know what they're doing. All you're doing is screwing up, so stop. Put your pencil down. You really think you can speak positive things to a crowded room? Where's your crown? You think you can turn lives around and help those who are drowning? I said, you're right. I mean, to be honest, all I wanted was to write something honest. It's the only thing I promised myself. He turned to me, eyes piercing into mine, forcing images in my head in a straight timeline of all my broken promises, and that's where it hit me. The person I see in front of me has visited before. His face now covered in debris from the ugliness of its actions in my memory. The timeline included a slideshow of this guest and me, and I want you to see it. See, in 7th grade, I had a friend, and for tonight, let's call him Ben. One night, Ben called me on the phone, and for the next 3 hours, he told me all about his broken home and how he's never felt so alone. I don't remember what I told him that night, but I remember what I did, and it was right. I actually had an assignment due for English class. I'm sorry, Ben, but I wrote about your past. It was sad and gory because your story mentioned not only your broken home, but your desire to quit life. I won't get too specific because what I wrote was pretty explicit. The next day, when my teacher asked to speak to me, I already knew what the topic would be. She thought I was talking about me. I stood quiet for what seemed like an eternity. Because at age 12, I didn't know how to delve into my emotions to defend you. Instead, I made the decision to save you. I wasn't the security you asked for. Instead, I chose sincerity so you can find serenity. And in the result, you started therapy, a word almost seen as taboo. But if therapy saved anyone, you said it saved you. In the eternity of silence outside English class, where it all seemed so complicated, I refused to be intimidated. And with that thought came another knock on the door. I looked at my guest, who once looked so alive, but now looks more like a corpse. I rushed to the door, and the person standing there had a face not rare, but familiar. When she spoke, it was merely a whisper. Can I come in? She asked. I said yes, and she passed me. I witnessed the contrast of these two guests. My new visitor grabbed the fading corpse, now stoic on the floor. She told him, it's time for you to go. Her movements slow and careful as she kicked him out. Her gentleness made me want to shout. Why are you being so nice to him? He reminded me of horrible things. She replied, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. See, his name is fear and I am bravery, and I came to tell you to take every opportunity and own it. We've been scoping the perimeters of your home to see just how far you can go. Fear was the manure I needed to blossom into a flower, that pink flower right outside. We tend to disguise ourselves always side by side. Because without fear, it can exist, and if I don't exist, how will you persist? I'm here to show you that you don't need a big room. Even just a tablespoon of positive words can help one take off their costume and realize they too can bloom. Bravery made me realize that even if I'm not much of a poet, I must stand here and say, even if you're at your lowest, you're not alone. We all live a life full of the unknown, because nothing is set in stone. Whatever's been thrown your way will be defeated. The next time fear knocks on your door, make sure you greet it. Do me a favor and tell your neighbor it will be okay, because they may have a story like Ben, and it's maybe all they need is a friend. And in this first piece I've created, I hope you realize that you too can refuse to be intimidated.